Shabbat Shalom, little Hebrews, and Boker Tov. This Shabbat, we will talk about the Yisraelites, or the Hebrews, are treated mean. This is in Exodus 1, verses 1 through 22. Little Hebrews, do you remember Yosef? And do you remember how his faith in Yah and his wisdom had saved the people from starving in Egypt? Well, do you remember that Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, had made Yosef the second most important person in Egypt? The only thing he could not be was Pharaoh. And do you remember, little Hebrews, that Yosef asked Pharaoh for land so that his family could build their homes and bring their herds of animals with them? And Pharaoh was happy to let Yosef's family come to the land called Goshen. You see, little Hebrews, Goshen was the perfect place for Yosef's family. There was lots of water and lots of green grass for the sheep, and the family started to grow really, really big. But as time went on, Yosef and his brothers got old, and they died. But his children and his grandchildren and his great-grandchildren kept right on living in Goshen. Now Pharaoh got old too, little Hebrews, and he died also. And a new Pharaoh took his place as the king of Egypt. Now this new Pharaoh, he did not remember Joseph or Yosef and all the good things he had done in Egypt. He noticed, though, that the people of Yisrael, Yosef's family, were strong people, and they had lots of things. He also saw that they were really a real large number of Hebrews in Egypt. Pharaoh worried that the Hebrews would start a war with the people of Egypt and maybe even take over Egypt. So Pharaoh decided to do something about the Hebrews. Pharaoh and the people that worked for him made the Egyptian people hate the Hebrews. They made them work as slaves, they beat them, and they made them work in the fields, and they had to make bricks for the new cities that Pharaoh was building. But even though Pharaoh made life hard for them, they kept growing and having lots of things. Well, this made Pharaoh very, very angry. You want to know what Pharaoh did, little Hebrews? Well, he had a meeting with the nurses or the midwives and told them to kill all the baby boys that were born to the Hebrews. The nurses feared Yah, and they knew that this was really wrong, so they would not do it. They did not do what Pharaoh told them to do. Seeing that his plan was not working, Pharaoh sent word to all the towns, telling all the people that every Hebrew baby boy was to be drowned in the river. But all the baby Hebrew girls were to live. Now, isn't that terrible, little Hebrews, that Pharaoh wanted all the little baby Hebrew boys drowned? It was a terrible law. But because most people were afraid to disobey Pharaoh, many babies died. And that, little Hebrews, is the end of Exodus chapter 1, verses 1 through 22. And now we will ask you some questions.